The following stories are inspired by documented paranormal encounters. Some locations and identities may have been changed to protect the people involved. These stories may be disturbing for younger audiences, and listener discretion is advised. This podcast is based on true events.
Hi, I'm Dalia, she, her.
Howdy, Humby, they, them.
And I'm Brandon, he, him.
And this podcast is based on true events.
Almost forgot it that time. Almost forgot to do it that time. My bad.
We made it.
We made it, guys.
Yeah.
We're here. Vibe check. How are we feeling on the exact same day we've recorded these other two episodes?
I actually, weirdly enough, we said that moods change throughout the day, and I've been feeling good the whole time. I'm feeling a little more excited now because this is going to be our third episode, so released, the second week?
Yeah, so this will be the second week.
So that's really exciting, and I'm very amped up about that. So if you made it here, hey, welcome back.
Right. Also,
I missed you.
Yeah. Also, I feel the same way, especially since, obviously the first episode we had a lot of ground to cover in laying out the basics, and it was our first time. Last episode, I really feel like we just got it. We started settling down into the roles that we have. Obviously, I'm just now remembering I messed up the picture order. However,
that's all right.
It'll be in the right order on Instagram, and then on YouTube it'll come up as I'm saying it. So but still, not the point. I'm feeling good. I was just talking to B about how we have the windows open here. You probably haven't heard anything, but we have bird sounds and just the wind coming in. It just feels so nice.
Very relaxing.
It's very relaxing, yeah. And again, just really nice feeling day, right? So good. Yesterday was like that too. It was especially with the sun was hitting just right too. Oh yeah. It was real nice. It was such a beautiful day. What a beautiful day to be sick, B.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, how about you? Vibe check for B.
Vibe check's great. I went downstairs, took a couple head off the Benjamin, and I'm feeling great. Hell yeah, party on, Wayne.
Hell yeah.
You know?
Hell yeah.
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for asking.
Mm-hmm. That's good to hear. To hear.
I'm excited.
Okay.
Me too.
No announcements. I guess if we ever have any announcements for anything, we'll put them around this. But usually, all the things we have to say will be toward at the very end. Because I know there are some people who are just get to the stories. You know what I mean? So
let's get to them.
Let's get to them.
Hop on in it.
I actually have two stories today. They're both a little shorter. Usually if I have a couple shorter stories, I will do those. We've based it off of word count. That's our secret little mathematic formula. It's if they're under a certain amount of words, we do multiple. If they're over, we do one. So that's how we're working that out. So
I'm just here.
So the last two episodes, I've done a little tiny intro for each of the stories. So when they're shorter like this, I'm not giving anything away. I'm just going to get right into it. Is that cool with you guys?
Fuck it, we ball.
Cool. So this is my first story. As told by the show Paranormal Witness, I give you Don't Stop the Car. Live Oak, Florida, 2004.
I have a feeling I might know this one.
Oh yeah? Stephanie Tasker asks her daughter Misty and an exchange student from Pakistan that they were homing named Moni to run some errands with her. Little do they know, though, that was Stephanie's little trick to try to get them to go to church with her. While Moni would go in with her, Misty opted to stay in the car and listen to some music. After about an hour, Stephanie and Moni return to the car, and they all start for home. Misty remembers the feeling that the atmosphere had changed as they drove off. The road back to their house was a pretty straight and desolate road that Stephanie was getting a little and Stephanie was getting a little nervous as the sun was setting. She really didn't like driving at night. As they drove along at around 55 miles per hour, Misty turned to look at her mom, and as she did, she noticed some movement on the side of the road. It kind of looked like a little girl. Misty immediately got an overwhelming feeling that something just wasn't right. Feeling a bit worried, Misty mentioned the little girl to Stephanie. After a little pestering, Stephanie agreed to turn around. She was hoping to prove to Misty that her eyes had just been playing tricks on her so they could get back home. However, after driving about a half a mile back in the other direction, they all see her. But it wasn't a little girl like Misty had originally thought. It was a teenage girl.
Still a little girl.
Still a little girl.
Yep.
She was dressed all in white and sitting on the edge of the road, head down, hugging her knees.
Nope.
She appeared to be rocking back and forth slightly. They went around 50 yards past her to turn around, but this time, when they got back to the spot where they had last seen her, she was gone. This frightened Misty a bit. She was convinced that there was nowhere the girl could have gone that fast that they wouldn't still be able to see her.
Right.
As they start driving down the road, now in full darkness, going around 5 miles an hour, Stephanie decides that the girl must have just walked off into the woods. However, she can't deny that the whole ordeal had creeped her out a bit as well. Despite not being able to see too well at night, she picks up some speed in the hopes of getting home quickly. About 3 or 4 miles down the road, Misty looks up and says, "Mom, that's her!" In the headlights, they can now all see this girl again, sitting on the side of the road, head down, arms wrapped around her knees. "Please don't stop," Misty says, her voice just barely above a whisper. She's horrified now. There's absolutely no way the girl could have beaten the car down the road. It just wasn't humanly possible. "Please don't stop," Misty repeats. "Just go. Just keep going." She pleads with her mother. But thinking that this girl could be in trouble, Stephanie decides to pull over. She might need help, she tells Misty. Misty is inconsolable now as the car pulls to a stop. She gets into the fetal position on the floor of the car, still begging her mom to just drive past. She knew something was about to happen, and she didn't want to see it. As Stephanie pulls up to the girl, she then has the absolute gall to ask Misty to roll down her window so that Stephanie can call out to the girl. Misty, of course, refuses.
Yeah, fuck that.
Stephanie thinks
your own window.
that Misty was just overreacting and reaches over to crank down the window herself. "Hey, are you okay?" Stephanie called out to the girl. After a brief pause from her position down on the floor of the passenger seat, Misty hears her mom and Moni scream as Stephanie slams her foot down on the gas. Later, Stephanie would recount what happened to Misty. According to her, the little girl looked up, revealing a jagged, dark hole where her face would be.
Jesus.
Everything was gone, like it had just been hollowed out. As she raced home, Stephanie could only stammer the same thing over and over again. She had no face. She had no face. The group was home in 10 minutes and practically bowled each other over to get into the house. Stephanie immediately phoned the police, but didn't want to sound crazy by saying that she saw a hollow-faced girl on the side of the road, so instead she told them that someone was in need of assistance. The police searched the area, but never found any trace of the girl. The following day, Misty discovered that a girl from her school had once been killed on that very same road in that exact same spot. Could what they saw that night have been the spirit of that girl, grieving for the life that she had once lost?
Ugh. See, stories like that are hard because literally in the first episode, I read a sweet, heartwarming story about stopping to help strangers on the road.
Yeah.
However,
but when they are ahead of you, when you're driving a car,
that's a little different.
There's a lot of red flags that should have been talked about in this one.
Some common sense was maybe due there with what was it, Stephanie?
Stephanie was the mother.
See,
yes.
and because I'm a mom, I get it. I have girls. I probably would have done the same thing.
Really?
Yeah, even though I'm very much I'm a runner, I'm a track star for anything. But when it comes to something like that, I that's how they're gonna get my ass. How they're gonna get my ass. Because
here's my thing: is that like I understand that feeling. Obviously, I think it's a bit like touch and go in this day and age.
Yeah.
If this had taken place during bright ass day, maybe.
Yeah.
Because we're on a desolate road, we can see nobody's really around trying to jump us or whatever. We have multiple people in the car. Maybe, right? Sure. This is in the middle of the night, and you just saw this whatever it was, like, jump ahead of your car, basically. What? Like,
yeah, but in my mom brain, I'm like, that's somebody's little girl. And it would have got me. She would have got my ass. I would have been dead.
See,
I'm gone.
Not I, said the
I
fly.
can get it, but I'm just, as a rule of thumb, I'm not pulling over for anybody in the middle of the night. I'm just
Oh,
not
I
doing
don't blame you.
No.
I'll call the cops
It's a
for
very
that.
good rule to have.
No, yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you think somebody's in trouble, call, like, someone to help, like cops or something. Be like, hey, somebody might be in trouble here. I'm not stopping. I'm not doing it. It's the middle of it's pitch black outside. I don't know what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think based on what happened, something was disguising itself.
That's
As
very
a
much
girl.
feels
Could
like
be.
it.
Because
Yeah.
I feel like if it was actually the girl, I don't know if she would have. I don't know if it would have been like that. Is what I'm trying to say. I don't know if it would like jump up all the way up there. I don't know if there would be like no face. If it would be like
Right. How
I
did
don't
she
know.
die that she has no face?
No,
Yeah.
and you're right to the point where it's like, if it is just like a residual spirit or whatever, why is it being like, no, I want you to stop for me. No, I want you to see me going far, like ahead
Exactly.
again to make
Right.
sure that you pass it again.
That's what I was trying to say.
Like,
yeah.
sure, be on the side of the road grieving as a spirit. Why are you going out of your way for this?
Yeah.
Are you actually grieving, or are you trying to trick me?
Right.
And there's that. And
Loki, is that you?
And, and there's also, like, the feeling of, like, maybe it is a spirit. Maybe this is just, like, how some way they see themselves. Maybe they still want to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
you just never know. Either way, I'm not a fan. But however, I do have some pictures for you guys. I have two pictures for you
Already?
guys. So this first one is a side-by-side. On the left, you're going to see the depiction of, like, the girl on the side of the road that the show showed, right?
Mhm.
On the right side, you are going to see a depiction of a girl on the side of the road that is like, actually, I don't know where the video originates from, but it's from a video that's been going around online. I don't know. Me and Dalia have definitely seen it before, but this car is driving. There's a lady on the side of the road, and she's moving around, and somebody's like, "Stop the car!" And they're like, "Hell no!" And they keep going. Well, in that video, one of them also goes back like in the daytime, and there's like a wet spot where that lady was, and like
Damn.
down on the side of the road, it looked like there was like a river. So they're like, it looks like she might have crawled out of the river or something. So
Yeah.
I'm saying,
Damn.
so
That's
this,
terrifying.
Yeah.
there. So this is that picture. So on the left is the show, on the right is like the actual, like the video. You can see the lady on the right has like her hand up. She's like doing something with her hair or whatever, maybe getting out her face.
Yeah.
Who knows? And this next one is the show's depiction of what the face of the girl looked like when she turned around.
No.
Good heavens!
That's worse than I even imagined.
Oh no!
Yeah, I was.
I don't know what I was
imagining
expecting, but it wasn't
less
that.
graphic somehow.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Ah.
All right. Well,
Holy
Pedal
shit!
to
am I
the
right?
metal.
Get it? Holy shit!
Yeah.
Whole face hole.
Whole-
Yeah.
Holy shit! You know? Okay.
no, yeah. Trust me, I'm hearing you.
Yeah.
I'm just not a fan.
No, nothing.
Okay, are you guys ready for my second story?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Cool. So this is again, no preamble.
Nope.
We'll just see what you guys feel
Hop
about
on
this
in.
one. This is, as told by the show, Paranormal Night Shift. I give you Clown Boy.
Oh no.
Oh god. See, I don't fuck with clowns.
Oh, I love clowns,
I don't.
but only certain types of clowns. So we'll see.
I like the sexy clowns. Don't ask me what the sexy
I have a feeling
clowns
this
are.
is not
Please
gonna be a
continue,
sexy
Brayden.
clown.
I'm so sorry.
Southwest USA 2008. It's the middle of the night, and Alex is heading to his new job as a custodian of the same school that his daughter goes to. The school has a reputation for being haunted, but Alex needs the job to pay for his daughter's tuition. And the benefits aren't too bad either. The rumors were that the school was built over a cemetery. It was a big school, and Alex was about to be the only one working to clean the place in the middle of the night. Cleaning the restrooms, the hallways, the classrooms, the gym, all on his own. He knew that it wasn't going to be easy. On his first shift, the quiet of the school at night gives it a very eerie environment, especially with the place not being lit up very well.
Yeah.
Well, right away, as he gets to cleaning, things start to happen. Alex would keep hearing noises in the hallways. He would hear footsteps around the corner, only for nobody to be there when he checked. He starts hearing the sounds of somebody whistling, as if it's to get his attention. Again, nobody's there. Even creepier, the whistling would soon start to mix with the sound of giggling.
Nope, I'm gone.
The doors are locked to the school. The gate is locked. Alex knows that he's the only one at the school. As Alex looks for the source of the whistling and the giggling, it becomes very clear to him that someone or something is toying with him, or at least it feels like it. Alex continues to look for the source of the noise, but finds nothing. His first night runs him ragged. But Alex cannot afford to quit this job. Over the next couple nights, Alex's uneasiness grows. Alex could feel something watching him, but he does his best to ignore not only that, but the continued whistling and giggling sounds. One night, as he's cleaning a classroom, he hears some books, he sees some books, shuffle around and fall over all on their own on one of the shelves in the classroom.
No disrespect.
Mm-mm.
The disrespect.
Pick that
He's
shit
gotta
up
clean
right
that.
now.
Yeah.
Right. How fucking rude.
Almost like an unseen hand was moving the books around. All of a sudden, bang! Alex says he hears a sound similar to a sledgehammer hitting the door.
Damn.
After collecting his composure, he goes out to check the hallway for the source of the sound, only to find nothing once again. Alex even turns to the staff for answers at one point, and this is where they tell him about someone who they call, and have been calling, Clown Boy. The rumor was that Clown Boy was a clown in a circus that developed the plague and died of it. After his death from the plague, he was buried in the cemetery that the school was rumored to be built over top of. Night after night, the haunting grows in intensity. Every night, Alex grows more afraid to come back to work. He feels like he's being tested, and he feels like something is trying to run him off purposefully. But at the same time, his daughter goes to the school, and he needs to be there. What would you do? One night, as he goes to change the toilet paper in the boys' restroom, he notices the temperature in the restroom is ice cold. No matter what he does, he just can't warm himself up. Then, as he's leaning over to install the toilet paper, he feels a painful scratch drag across his back. He immediately turns around but finds nothing and no one. Looking in the mirror, he can see the fresh red scratch on his back.
Damn.
Alex has had just about enough for one night and turns to leave. But when he does, he sees him standing in the entrance to the restroom. A person about the height of a young boy, dressed like a clown and glowering at him. Alex feels himself get thrown to the ground. As he lays there, terrified and unable to move his arms and legs, he sees the evil-looking face of the clown boy glaring down at him just inches above his face. The boy laughing at him with his dirty yellow teeth. But, in an instant, the face is gone and Alex can move again. He runs into a nearby classroom and locks the door behind him and stays there for a really long time. The last thing he wants to do is run into Clown Boy again in the school.
Right.
Eventually, though, he does leave the classroom and then the school, and Alex never comes back. He's had enough.
Smart choice.
He gets a new job at a different school that allows him to pay for his daughter's tuition, and years later, after leaving the school, Alex still has reoccurring nightmares about the spirits of the school calling to him. He has yet to go back to the school, and no one else to this day has reported seeing Clown Boy.
Oh my gosh.
I wouldn't go back either. Fuck that.
No, yeah, for
Nah.
real.
I feel like
Fuck you and your job. Bye.
once it got physical,
Oh,
once
yeah.
it got to where it was harming him, then like leave.
Oh yeah.
Up to
Deuces.
then, he was like, "What would you do?" I was like, "Well, I think I'd blare some music, and I would just be like, there's just a
Right,
little
'cause that's what I was
spirit of
thinking, too.
No, yeah, there's
spirit of a
a-
coast
There's
kid,
a
you know."
point to where you can ignore it.
Yeah, put your headphones in. You're cleaning.
Being
with some
scratched and
music.
thrown to the ground
Yes.
and
No.
being face to face, like, look at me, like, that's it, I'm done. Like,
Yeah,
I can't,
but-
like, obviously this isn't going away.
If I make it out of here alive, I ain't coming back.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is this actually the spirit of the little boy? Because
yeah.
with the little boy,
Right.
why would he feel the need to harm other people?
Well, to be fair, like, it could, like, for all we know, it could be not just because if it's built over, whether it's built over a graveyard or not, it could, in my theory, be a tulpa. Do you guys know what that is?
Nope.
No.
So a tulpa is I guess you could call it like a supernatural being of some sort, but it's created by the belief that it exists.
Oh, those.
So it's something that, like, and I'm talking like extreme belief of like from like multiple people, like that kind of thing. So if you have this, yes, is everything okay?
You thinking what I'm thinking?
I don't know. I'm definitely thinking something, but I'm not going to say it.
Sonic, it's me, the devil from the Bible.
No, that's funny though.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, if you have this whole school where even the staff are like, no, yeah, this thing is real, like, I would almost guarantee that something's happening. Like, or even if it's not a tulpa, even if it's like some sort of spirit, or Dalia disguising itself as a clown boy, like if it is clown boy, maybe it's a shorter clown but not a boy. Like there's so many different options and none of them are fun. None of them I like.
None of them are great.
No. I was able to like clearly visualize that one.
Yeah,
like as you were talking, I was like there. Like usually that's what happens, but this one was like really, really clear for some reason. I don't know if it's because it was like a school and I used to work in a school or what. But,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, schools, empty schools, again, peak liminal. Peak liminal.
Maybe that's why I think that creeps me out, is the empty big buildings.
No, yeah, empty big buildings are freaky, because, like, no, I get it. Because, like, are you guys ready for some pictures?
Yes. Absolutely.
All right, so this first one is the depiction, this is what the show has decided that Clown Boy looks like. So this is what he is depicted as in the show.
Oh, yeah, fuck that. No. No, thank you.
Not a fan.
No,
exactly.
Not at all.
So,
no, definitely not in an empty school building.
So, I did some research and I pinpointed like a time frame on when, like, you know, the plague happened in the U.S. and stuff like that, and like what clowns looked like around that time. And so I was able to find this flyer for a circus. So here it is. This is probably more accurately what Clown Boy would have looked like in there. The Barnum and Bailey Circus is the flyer I found. So these clowns are more likely what this entity would have looked like, which again is not
a great option.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no.
Like,
no, that's the first picture you sent. He looks like he's going to try to diddle me.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Well, he's giving like the clown from Dead by Daylight for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But the Burnham and Bailey clown is not a great option either.
No, like I know.
I feel like that's scarier.
I know they're supposed to be happy and go lucky, but if in any context, especially when you get to the idea of like it's a human and that face paint is going to be rubbing off a little bit, like that's not a good visual.
With like the yellow teeth he was talking
That's a
about.
visual, yeah.
If I am somewhere that clowns are not supposed to be, I do not belong there.
That's fair. That's fair.
Why are you here?
Yep, it's time to go.
Yeah.
If I walk into a building and there's clowns there, and I know for a fact clowns ain't supposed to be in that
if
building.
I'm not in a clownvention, then it's different.
Right. I'm not walking into the circus. I'm not walking into... No.
If I'm not in my tattoo artist's, what's it called? Shop.
Yeah.
Because
they
my
love
tattoo
clowns, yeah.
my tattoo artist is a clown person.
Yeah.
They love clowns. Then I'm not in the right spot. So
right.
I get it. No.
Exactly. It's time to go.
No, yeah. That being said, like I'm not necessarily way too scared of clowns either. I love clowns. I love how clowns look. I love a good clown girl, especially.
Yes,
like I love
I
clown
agree.
aesthetic. Scary clowns are the same amount of scary as anything being scary-ified, you know? Like...
Depends on the location, I think, the most.
No, it absolutely depends on the location of when a clown is acceptable, you know?
Because if I'm in a haunted house, the clowns don't scare me. I just get really excited. Oh, look at the clown!
If my brain can't come up with a reason why that's there, then it's not good.
Yeah,
Things
exactly.
that are unnecessarily joyful make me nervous.
Understood.
Why are you so happy?
I didn't mean for this to happen. This is like the second episode in a row that I've had clowns in my story. I don't know if you remember, the Screaming House also had like a clown in it as well.
do.
That the boys saw, which not a fan.
No.
Not a fan of that.
Yeah, fuck that.
No, yeah. So those are my stories. Doll, what do you got for us today?
I have 2 stories as well.
All right.
I do. And my first one... All right. First of all, this allegedly true encounter was posted, you guessed it, on Reddit.
Yeah. And
is actually a throwback for the original poster, as they recollect what happened to them when they were younger.
Oh, fun. These
yes.
are always gonna...
Yes,
be
so let's
freaky.
get into it.
Anything from the perspective of you as a child that's scary is usually really scary. Yeah.
This one's actually kind of interesting.
Okay.
I'm excited and also very interested to see how you guys take this one, because it's not a typical one, I don't think.
Okay.
I'll call this one Charlie. There was a kid I became friends with in middle school. We were both kind of odd ones out. Both did theater and read a lot and didn't have as many friends. I'll call him Charlie. One day, Charlie came over to my house. My sister had recently thrown a Halloween party in our basement, and there were still black lights instead of regular light bulbs throughout the area. We were hanging out down there, and Charlie was being very odd, saying things I didn't really know how to respond to that were rather dark and intense. He spoke about having some sort of dark presence within him and being possessed. Now, he could tell I didn't really believe him, and so he said he would prove it. Above us, there were 2 rows of 3 lights. He pointed at the first row's center light. "That light is going to go out," he said. I just laughed and waited. About 30 seconds had passed and nothing had happened, so I started to say something. As soon as I did, though, bang! Not only did the light go out, but it popped so loudly I genuinely jumped. My breath caught, and I just stared at him. He had this unexplainable look in his eyes. His eyes were naturally a dark brown, but looked black. It was so intense and unnerving. He did other things during this hangout, such as insulting me for playing lead role in a play at our local theater, which wasn't typically like him. I didn't really know what to do, and he was always around at school, so I just sort of played it off. We played video games, and I did my best to move on. A couple of weeks later, it was my birthday, and Charlie had been invited over a month ago along with 2 girlfriends of mine, Lana and Chloe. We all met at my house and decided to walk to the downtown area not even a mile from my home. There was a small path in a heavily wooded area that served as a shortcut. We love shortcuts.
Oh, yeah.
As we were walking, Charlie began talking about graves and death. Chloe, Lana, and I all kind of looked at each other uneasily. I don't remember exactly what Charlie was saying, but it was some kind of genuine, wholehearted tirade about how he was the Prince of Death, and it was part of him. Or something along those lines. I know. I don't remember what else was said, but he ranted for so long, the rants became more of growls in a deep, intense, and booming voice. Suddenly, without provocation, was it provocation? Provocation, sorry about that. He launched for Lana's neck.
Ooh.
He looked on and was full on choking her with all of his strength.
Damn.
He locked on. I'm not proud of this, but as soon as I saw Lana hit him and get off of her, I just ran. Lana, Chloe, and I all lived in the same neighborhood, just a couple doors down from each other. We sprinted full speed and didn't dare look back. I don't really know what I was thinking, but we all decided to split up. So I slammed my door and sat in my room, terrified and not knowing what to do. My parents weren't home for some reason, so I just sat there for what felt like hours. Eventually, the police were at our door.
Ooh.
My older sister answered it. She came upstairs, horrified, asking why the police said Charlie had knocked on a neighbor's door with no shirt, no phone, a missing shoe, and all banged up. I was
Friday night.
horrified. I was horrified. I knew for a fact when we left, he still had his phone, his shirt, and his shoes. A while later, my parents got home and the police came back to question me. I told them everything, and they claimed the other girls had told them a different story.
Ooh.
Well, either that's true or the police was, they were trying to get something out of her. That's not unheard of. I have no idea why they would do that and insisted I didn't have anything else to tell them. Apparently, Charlie had been in and out of psych wards, which I had no idea of, and they recently adjusted his medication. Nothing further came from that situation with the police, and I didn't see Charlie at school for at least a full year after that. Mental issues, sure, but nothing will ever be able to explain how the light went out. It will forever leave me feeling unsettled.
Charlie gotta go.
Yeah. Charlie, we can't hang with Charlie no more.
No, we can't hang with Charlie no more.
Do we think that's a paranormal encounter, or do we think that's just
I don't know.
So that gives me similar vibes to the girls that killed because they said Slenderman told them to.
Yeah.
That gives me
fair.
that same kind of vibe.
What about the light bulb?
You said how long went by after he said it was
30 seconds.
You know, part of me is like, okay, yeah, you could have waited for an hour for that one to go out, but it's still the fact that it was that one, and the fact that it went off so violently.
Yeah, he pointed at the one it was going to be, and then 30 seconds later, it went out violently.
Because I'm a big believer that before any kind of paranormal thing is considered, you should evaluate like mental stuff.
health.
Absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
That's weird. That one little detail changes it just slightly enough to where I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
I agree.
Do you think that maybe he was psychic and just knew it was going to happen?
See, that's a whole nother like.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of possibilities.
No, there's a whole other. That's a whole other layer.
Mm-hmm. Well, imagine, like, if you're being skeptical about this, what else could it have been other than him?
Here's my thing: like, if he's psychic and like doing this, like, if we're going into that kind of territory, there's other stuff he could have done, especially if he is going through a mental health episode and wants to be like, believe me, in this kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, even if he doesn't know he's doing it, it's like a poltergeist type situation because I'm assuming these are like teenagers, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it reads about 14, maybe younger.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's usually around like teenage years is usually when like poltergeist stuff will pop up.
Oh, is it?
For people, yeah, because it's usually centered around
Insecurities and stuff like that?
No, it's usually centered around like teenagers that, like, for lack of better terms, high strung, like a lot going on, that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, I don't know.
It's the energy shift.
No, yeah, because I would completely just say mental stuff if there wasn't that light bulb incident. That's weird.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
No, yeah.
I do have a photo.
Okay, sure. This is the light bulb.
This is
the light bulb.
Yeah, no, this is unfortunately how I picture Charlie.
Oh no.
Oh, Dalia.
No!
Dalia!
Mind freak Chris Angel, just obviously younger. Obviously he's not doing magic tricks, but the pure edginess and the Prince of Death thing, it rings for me.
We can't hang out with Charlie. Dude.
No.
Chris
Charlie gotta
Angel
go.
mind freak.
Charlie gotta go.
Just the vibes. So
Yeah.
That's funny. That's. Oh god. Okay, I wasn't
bit
expecting
my
that.
finger. Well, my Charlie choked me, so.
That's insane. That's either way. That's such a terrifying situation for that group of girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like, what do you mean? This dude just like latched on and started choking you? Like no.
Right.
Oh no, absolutely not. Do you think it was the police saying that the girls told a different story, or do you think they actually told different stories? Because that adds another fucking layer. If I don't know,
it wouldn't be unheard of if it was the police, but I did look in the replies.
Yeah,
I didn't write this down just because it didn't really go with the story.
Sure.
But since you asked, apparently years later, the OP found out that Lana, one of the girls, was basically talking shit and stabbed her in the back, and they're not friends anymore.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So it's a possibility that the
figured that
girls
out.
were like, "Oh no, nothing happened," because they didn't want to get in trouble with their parents.
That's
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
I'm choosing to believe it's that since we know that bit of
Probably.
information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So since you asked, yeah, absolutely. And I have another story. Are you guys ready for that, or do we
Yeah.
have more to say on that one?
I'm good to go.
You gonna show a picture of David Blaine next? Like,
Right? Yes.
actually, no.
No.
All right, yeah, I'm ready.
Not
Let's
quite,
do it. Let's do
not
it.
quite. This next allegedly true encounter was posted on Reddit, and I hope you've got your blankies because this one is chilling. So let's get into it.
This is a good one.
Would you
I'm
like a
really proud of
blanket?
you.
Would you
No,
like
I'm
a
good.
blanket?
I'm really proud of you.
I
for
said
that
it
one,
for a reason, as you will see.
Okay.
I do. Gimme.
Yeah, you want goosebumps or?
Yeah, give me a
Oh,
blanket.
the goosebump blanket's perfect. Yeah.
Thank you. All right.
Really
now that-
proud of you guys for not hitting any mics or anything while doing
Yep.
that. That was great.
Yep.
Just chucking.
Good practice.
Yeah,
Oh
good
yeah,
practice, yeah.
absolutely. All right, now that Bee's got their blankie, would you like one, Brandon?
I'm fine.
Okay,
I'm
all
very temperature controlled. Feeling nice right now.
Good to know. Okay. Well, this story is titled The Boy Outside. Back when I lived in Columbus, Georgia, I lived in an old house on a property developed back in the late 1800s. Like our house.
Lovely.
Ooh. It's a rare snowy winter. I want to say late 2000s or early 2010s. My dad and I are doing stuff around the house, and he's drinking hard, as he had a drinking problem. We're loading the fireplace, the dogs are sleeping, we see the firewood pile is low, and we both go out to grab more firewood. By which I mean, mostly me carrying it. My intoxicated father will fall over if he does. Alright. It's no longer snowing super hard, but it's still going. and it is foggy as hell out there. There's a funeral home up top of the hill beyond the house, past this mid-sized retaining pond/pit that keeps our house from flooding when it rains real bad. And the parking lot of the house has a couple of streetlights. From the light nearest our house, me and Dad see a silhouette out against the snow. It's small, maybe just over 4 feet tall, which says child, and me and Dad, being at least halfway decent people we are, start going up to see what is going on. Why is there a kid out here in 0 dark 30?
Right.
And we find this kid. He can't be more than 10, maybe 11 years old. Pale as death, like he's been out in the snow for hours. And all he's wearing is a nightgown. He looks terrified, and he's shaking and just stares at us, not saying a word. Dad sobers up almost instantly and gently tells the kid to follow us. We gotta get him inside. He's gonna freeze to death out here. I agree and reach out to offer him a hand. He recoils away and doesn't touch me, but he nods a bit when we gently invite him in. Promise to get him warmed up and maybe something to eat and or drink. And follows us down the hill and into the house. His face lights up immediately as soon as he's past the back door and in our laundry room. He stops shivering. He stops looking scared. He just looks calm and content now. Dad and I turn to start and rush off and get him to some blankets, towels, set up a space heater. We both turned away from him for less than 2 seconds. And I turned back around real quick because I was going to ask him if he wanted soup or maybe some chicken. He was gone.
Damn.
Disappeared.
Bye, Dad.
I grab Dad's arm, and he turns back, and he almost turns as white as that kid was, which is impressive for someone who's visibly half Cherokee. This kid is completely, 100% gone. We look outside, we see no footprints. The boy was barefoot, but the only tracks were me and Dad's boots, nothing else. Dad and I stare at each other for a while. Dad was clearly questioning whether or not he'd had some kind of drunk hallucination, except I was there and I'd seen the boy too, and I almost never touched booze, so that was definitely not a hallucination. Over the following week and a half, both of us asked around about the boy in a nightgown. Wasn't until Dad mentioned to Mrs. Old Thunderberg, she died at 98 and was only 96 at that point, so she's been around a frickin' spell. We got an answer. Sort of. According to Mrs. Funderburg, when she was a child and the area was a lot less developed that way back before she was born there was an old ghost story about a boy who'd been found dead in a rare Georgia snowstorm not far from where our house was. And nothing but a nightgown. Nobody knew how or why. All anyone had guessed. But it wasn't uncommon for people to claim seeing a boy, or at least a silhouette, in our area in the dead of night during really bad snowstorms. Sorry, that was worded weird. But nobody had ever gotten close to him before. He'd always just run off or disappeared into the snow and fog. The best guess that me and Dad could come up with, after Mrs. Funderburg told us all we knew, is that the kid must have gotten locked outside of his house. I can only hope by tragic accident rather than active cruelty, during some major blizzard. There was a pretty bad one in 1910, but for my part, I always figured it must have been the Great Blizzard of 1899, and just couldn't get back in. Judging by what me and Dad saw, the boy had been pretty damn frail. He would have frozen to death quickly once the mercury went to 32 degrees Fahrenheit or lower. But he disappeared when we brought him inside. It's been a while since that happened, at least 15 years. Nobody I've spoken to, including people who used to live in our immediate vicinity, had seen anything like what me and Dad saw. And sometimes, even now, I find myself wondering if that was definitely real and not just me and Dad having some kind of shared hallucination somehow. Had that kid been there all that time? Was all he wanted to be invited into someplace warm? Maybe somewhere he used to live, and that was good enough? I can still see his face if I think about it. That half-frozen, scared little face. Did it really take 100-odd years or more for someone to care enough to try and bring him out of the cold?
That's so sad.
No, yeah, that's a heartbreaking,
oh
thought to
my
have
God.
for that. Yeah. And like how happy he seemed like once they actually got it. That's sad. No, yeah.
That's heartbreaking.
It absolutely is.
That was a good one. Horror stories or ghost stories and stuff that take place like in the middle of the snow are really freaky to me. Like winter horror stories, you know?
Yeah.
Because like, well, I mean, back in the day, that's when ghost stories were told a lot of times, because especially when the snow is falling, there's no life out anymore. It's just quiet, a blanket of snow muffling. Like, oh, but that is really heartbreaking to think about.
Yeah.
Because like, no, yeah, I can't imagine not doing the exact same thing. You know?
Yep, exactly.
Like,
I'm very curious to see what kind of pictures you have to go with that.
Absolutely. Right. So, I'm actually sending 2 at the same time.
Sure.
It's a map of the blizzard of 1899 that OP referenced.
Okay.
I circled roughly where Columbus, Georgia is located, zoomed in and screenshotted the second picture. Then I'll let you guys take that in before I send the third one.
That was super cold.
No, yeah, that's insane.
Yes, so this is allegedly probably what the weather was like when the little boy was stuck outside and passed on.
Right.
So that is just to think about that, and hopefully it was an accident and not out of cruelty, as OP said.
Right.
But that's some devastating stuff. For the third picture, are we ready?
Yes.
Okay, so for the third picture here,
I'll probably only include like the zoomed in one in the second one. Actually, well, yeah, I'll do both.
That's fine.
Yeah, so I'll do the big one, then the zoomed in.
Whatever you decide. I photoshopped this together. It's not nearly as ridiculous as the other ones I photoshopped. But it is of a blizzard, and then what I think it would look like to see a little boy in a nightgown. I scribbled out the kid's face because it was just a random stock photo of a kid, and I don't really...
Yeah.
So there's just a couple of stock photos together that I did here.
That's terrifying. Oh. That's a creepy image. It's actually creepier with the face scribbled out, too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was the intention. Don't
don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't imagine. Oh man. No, yeah, that's creepy, that's scary, but moreover, that's sad, you know? It's really sad. Mm-hmm. I never really know what to think about like ghost children and stuff, because you never know what is and is actually a child or isn't actually a child, or what's masquerading. Exactly. But that
was definitely
had like that was
somebody's baby.
No, for real. Oh man. Yeah. Well, thank you for that chilling encounter, as you called it. B, would you like to warm us up a little bit with something a bit more heartwarming?
Yes, please. I
other
would
warm
love
puns.
That. Love that.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
All right. The story starts as such.
Okay.
In 2016, my cousin decided she wanted to get married in Ireland. We're American, but with Irish heritage.
Okay.
Since it's kind of tough and pointless to fly to Europe for a weekend, we decided to make a 10-day trip of it. My parents were both born in America, but both their mothers were from Ireland, so we planned to see the towns where their mothers were from. My grandfather has cousins who still own the farm/land where his mother grew up, but he'd never met them. So we have our wedding, and we depart on our family heritage tour, assisted by our private tour van driver, Patrick. There were about 10 of us, and none of us have experience driving on the quote-unquote wrong side of the road, so this is essential. Every single person we met in Ireland is just lovely. Patrick, an older gentleman, tells us about all the places we're driving by and their history and fun facts, and makes fast friends with my grandparents. There are laws governing how far and for how long he can be driving at any given time, so he finds fun places for us to stop along the way, so he's abiding by those laws. The day comes when we're planning to try to get to my great-grandmother's house. We don't have an actual address, just a general idea of where it is in County Donegal. We make it to the town where we think it is, and get to the point where Google Maps is no longer helpful because, again, we don't have an address.
Right.
So what does our driver do? He begins asking people on the street if they could tell us where Andy's house is. Seriously. He's already been driving for hours beyond what he's supposed to. He finally finds someone who, in fact, knows Andy and is willing to direct us to his house. So this van of almost a dozen Americans pulls up to this quaint Irish cottage on the cliffs of Ballyharry, and my grandfather gets out and knocks on the door and basically says, "Surprise, we're your cousins from America." They take us in, make us tea, show us their cows, and then amazingly show us my great-grandmother's actual house, which is still part of their farm.
Oh, wow.
It's in major disrepair, but it's recognizable from the picture that had hung in my grandparents' house for as long as I could remember. Andy has the same photograph hanging in his living room. I've never seen my grandfather happier before or since. And all because our driver, who risked fines and getting in trouble with his employer, made it possible by being willing to drive us so far and so long out of his way to make sure my grandfather had this experience. It was amazing for the rest of us too, but for my grandfather, it was just incredible. This was over 4 years ago, and my grandparents still keep in touch with Patrick via email. My grandmother has even sent him those huge plastic jars of pretzels you can get at Costco.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because we had them on our trip, and Patrick enjoyed sharing them with us. It was absolutely unforgettable, and thinking about it always makes me happy.
That's nice. I
That's
like
really
that.
nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So my husband, he's a CDL driver,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got to follow those rules too.
Right.
So I get it, man. And they're strict. They're hard on your ass.
No, yeah.
I don't know how it is out of country, but that's
You tend to think
it's a
everything-
big deal.
You usually tend to rule of thumb. Most things are just better outside of America. So, like,
Yeah.
but no, that's still really sweet. And the fact they kept in touch and like, here's those pretzels that you like,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
that's so nice.
Yeah.
As for the picture,
Yeah.
I actually found a picture of what that van would look like. Well, this is a more recent picture. I'm sure in 2016. I don't know that the vans look this nice.
Okay.
I don't know what year this van is, but that is a picture of what it would look like.
Okay.
With 10 Americans
That's kind
all
of
up in that bitch.
that's kind of how I pictured it too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But no, yeah, that's still
Windows
cram
open,
packed.
everybody hanging out.
Oh, yeah.
It's still
Everyone's got a
jam-packed.
Budweiser in their hand. We're having a
Mhm.
blast.
They're hanging out the windows.
Yep.
Feeling the breeze.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good. That's nice. I like that.
Mhm.
Cool.
Nice,
Yeah.
sweet little story.
Sweet little story. Well, thank you guys for your stories today.
Thank you.
Thank you who are listening for joining us again for our second week being a podcast. Huh? Well, we're not. Don't worry. It's okay. I remember.
Remember? Okay.
Okay. So, and now I blank. No, you're good. You can check out our links down below in the show notes. It's our beacons.ai page. That'll give you everything we have. Our TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, because fuck Twitter. YouTube. Have we been saying YouTube? You can, we don't have a video part of this, but if you're listening or not, or want to watch on YouTube, you can see, like, there's an image and there's like a sound wave and everything, so there's a little bit of visual for you, and we'll put the pictures up there. So, like, if you want to check out our YouTube, you can do that. But yeah, just that'll lead you to our socials, and then if you have any paranormal stories, experiences you've had, or somebody close to you have had that you want to share with us, or some wholesome stories for B to read on here, send them to TPIBOTE at outlook.com, or we like to call it TPIBOTE.
Tippy-boat.
No, yeah, so there also just tell us how we're doing, like what you've been thinking of the podcast so far. You can leave us a rating and review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and our Facebook page. There, I'm gonna pass it over to B for the end now.
We appreciate you hanging out with us these last couple of weeks, and we really look forward to you coming back for week 3. As always, remember, this podcast was based on true events.